We brought the great Sir Alex Ferguson out to watch that. Wayne Rooney came out, a proper club legend and a football legend. He came out to watch that. Manchester United lose to Villarreal in the Europa League final on penalties. That was one of the worst managerial performances I have seen ever. His in-game management was poor, but even his overall management and coaching ability, it was the worst that I've ever seen. The worst. I'm talking about the worst. Let's go into it. First of all, not even just in-game. Let's start with outside of the game. Him as a manager and as a coach. His inability to create a system and a style of play. His inability to coach this team how to break down low blocks, how to move the ball quick enough in a low block. Because when you're playing in a low block, when you're playing against a low block, you cannot take 3 and 4 and 5 touches. You have to move the ball quick enough so that you can maybe move one of their players out of position and you can get in behind or create an opening. His inability to coach the team and teach the team and show the team how to break down low blocks, how to break down stubborn defenses. His inability to coach 1 and 2 touch football. We never ever play 1 and 2 touch football. He doesn't know how to coach that. That's why Jose Mourinho, and I always say it on my channel, Jose Mourinho said when he came up against Manchester United, I think it was last season or early this season, one of the two, and Jose Mourinho said that I gave Manchester United something they did not want. What is that? We want grass. We want grass to run into. We want space. We don't want the ball. So the minute you give us the ball, we can't do anything because we don't want the ball. And Jose literally said, I gave Manchester United something they did not want. We don't want the football. We are not coached with the football. We're not coached on how to move the ball, how to pass the ball. We've got no passing patterns. We've got no patterns of play. You will never see a triangle. Never see a triangle on that pitch. Never. And that's down to the manager. What he's doing on the training ground. He cannot coach. He has zero ability to coach. Zero ability. Give you an example of how really hands-on he is. You see on the touchline, from minute 1, Unai Emery, minute 1 of the game to the last minute of the game, extra time, Unai Emery was on his touchline, barking orders to his team, encouraging his team, telling his team what to do from the touchline, minute 1 to minute 90. You see Pep Guardiola, Jurgen Klopp, Zinedine Zidane, Conte, all these managers on their touchline. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer sitting in his seat for the game. Majority of the game, he's sitting in his seat. Remind me who's the manager that actually won something, because if I look at it, it looks like Ole has won everything in club football as a manager and looks like Emery won nothing. Ole sitting in his seat, Emery on the touchline. That's one of the cases. Second case, after 90 minutes, the ref blew for extra time. The players all gather around in a circle. Unai Emery is standing there in the middle of the circle, instructing his team and telling his team what they need to do going into extra time. Telling his team and coaching his team and instructing him what they need to do going into extra time to nullify Manchester United and hopefully win the game. Unai Emery. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, in that same talk where Manchester United are gathered in a circle, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is holding the players and Mick Phelan is speaking. Ole is quiet and Mick Phelan is speaking. These are signs. These are signs for you and me to see that this manager has no clue what he's doing. That's why you will not find him on the touchline either. And when you find him on the touchline, the odd case that you find him on the touchline, he's never, ever instructing the team what they need to do. It's only hand movements, going in, run. He's never instructing the team what to do because he genuinely doesn't know what he's looking at and he has no idea what to do. So, okay, we dealt with his inability to create a system and a style of play and his inability to coach these guys how to break down a low block. Let's go into in-game management. What he got wrong. From the first minute, let's even say the first 5 to 10 minutes, you saw Villarreal parking the bus. From the beginning of the game, you saw the tactic and the tactic of Villarreal for that game, their game plan. They were parking the bus and they wanted to hit us on the counter-attack. So we all saw that. We all saw that we were going to have majority of the ball for the whole game. We all saw that. They are parking the bus and they want to hit us on the counter-attack. So we all saw they're parking the bus. Okay. Secondly, we saw that, okay, if a team is parking the bus, it's common sense that how they are plan to score and how they plan to affect and deal a blow to the other team is hit on the counter-attack. So you also see that they don't have any fast players to play on the counter-attack. Therefore, they're of no threat in the counter-attack. So even when they were defending with a low block and they did get the ball, they had no outlet because their players are slow. Their players are so slow. Not once did they trouble us on the counter-attack. Not once did they look like, hey, they can score and they're dangerous on the counter-attack. No. We did not play a PSG team that got Neymar and Mbappe that are lightning quick. We did not play a Liverpool team that got Mohamed Salah and Sadio Mane that are lightning quick. We did not play a Manchester City that got Mahrez that can run, that Foden can run, and Raheem Sterling that can run. Villarreal got no players up front that are fast. So they parked the bus and defended with a low block, and they were of no threat to us on the counter-attack. Yet Oli still persisted with two holding midfielders. He played two holding midfielders against a team that had a low block and posed no threat to us on the counter. Two holding midfielders. He played two holding midfielders for all the 90 minutes. All the 90 minutes and practically most of the extra time. He played with two holding midfielders. He did not take any of those holding midfielders off. And I will never get on the back of Paul Pogba. I'm sorry. I will criticize every other player that had a poor game, but I will not criticize Paul Pogba that had a poor game because he played other position. He is not a holding midfielder. What is he doing playing as a holding midfielder? I will never criticize him. I would criticize him if he played as a number 8 or number 10 or even if he played on the left wing. I would criticize him because that's his best position, is in the attacking phase of the game. He was playing as a holding midfielder against a team that has a low block. What do you expect a holding midfielder to do against a team that has a low block? What do you expect him to do? What passes can he make? How do you expect him to impact the game when he's getting the ball off his centre-backs and playing the halfway line? I will never criticize him. So that's the thing Oli got wrong. He continued with two holding midfielders. No substitutions. For the whole 90 minutes, no substitutions. For majority of the extra time, he did not make substitutions. Unai Emery used all 5 of his substitutions in the 90 minutes. All 5. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer used nothing. Unai Emery got no players to bring off on the bench that are of quality. Not one player you can name that came off the bench. Maybe Coquelin. And Coquelin is dead. He's a bad footballer. Unai Emery got no firepower, no top players, no even good players to bring off from the bench, yet he made 5 substitutions. Ollie's got a squad of a wealth of talent, and he made no changes. Villarreal made their first substitution on the 60th minute. The 60th minute, Unai Emery made his first substitution. First substitution he made in the 60th minute. He used all 5 of his substitutes in 90 minutes. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Manchester United make their first substitution in minute 100. Minute 100 after the 90 minutes has been played, extra time, he makes his first substitution. He takes off Mason Greenwood, he brings on Fred. He takes off Mason Greenwood, he leaves Marcus Rashford on the pitch. Marcus Rashford was the worst player on the pitch. Out of both sides, Marcus Rashford was the worst player. Foyth, that right back that is on loan from Tottenham, had Marcus Rashford in his pocket. In his pocket. We're not talking about a top-class right back, a Danny Carvajal from Real Madrid, or even a Kyle Walker or a Kieran Trippier. Yes, they're not good in defending, but they are top-class, world-class right backs. We're not talking about that. We're talking about Foyth. Foyth had Marcus Rashford in his pocket. Rashford could do nothing. Nothing that whole game. He was poor. He was giving away balls. He was running straight into Foyth, running straight into the Villarreal defense. Had an absolute stinker, the worst player on the pitch. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer left him on, took off Mason Greenwood, who had an okay game. He took off Mason Greenwood. He brings on Fred. Fred, that's a defensive change. Because that meant that we then had a midfield pivot of Scott McTominay and Fred, and he moved Paul Pogba onto the left wing. Extra time he makes that change. He should have made that change, not even make that change. He should have never brought on Fred. Never. Why must we still go with two holding midfielders? So Ole Gunnar Solskjaer for the whole game, 90 minutes and extra time, kept two holding midfielders. That was his change he made in the 100 minutes. His next change was in the 115th minutes. 115 minutes, he makes a change, and that was a forced change because Paul Pogba picked up a minor injury. Paul Pogba was holding his thigh. He took off Paul Pogba, he brought Daniel James on. His next two changes were in the 120 minutes, at the end of the game. He brought on Juan Mata and he brought on Alex Telles. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer had no desire to win that game. Nothing at all said that he wanted to win that game. He played for penalties. The minute it went off the 90 minutes, he played for penalties. How can you play for penalties when penalties is literally it's gambling? It's gambling. Anybody can beat anyone in penalties. Penalties is not a true reflection of which club and which team is better than which team. It's not. It's not a true reflection. You can get a Sunday League team. You can get a championship team that can beat a top European team in penalties, because it's not a true reflection of which team is better. It's literally gambling. He played for penalties. He did not want to win that game. If he wanted to win that game, he would have made proper changes within the 90 minutes when we were clearly on top of the game. Not even on top, but we had most of the ball. And Villarreal were of no threat to us in attacking phase of their game, in no threat to us. He did not make changes. He played for penalties. How do you play for penalties? And a result of that, we lost. I will never blame David De Gea for missing a penalty. We are not supposed to be in the penalty shootout with Villarreal in the first place. In the first place, guys, understand something. Not one Villarreal player makes it into our starting 11. Not one. Not one, and majority of them, all of them, except Pau Torres, don't even make it into our squad. We should never be going to a penalty shootout with Villarreal. We went to a penalty shootout with Villarreal. I will not blame David De Gea for missing a penalty. This performance, this result was on the manager. On the manager, as I said at the beginning of the video. His inability to coach and to coach a system and a style of play and break down a low block. Number two, he kept two holding midfielders for the entire game against a low block. Number three, substitutions were way too late. Made no substitutions in the 90 minutes. Most of his substitutions were forced substitutions. And he got the substitutions wrong when he took off Mason Greenwood instead of taking off Marcus Rashford. In Ollie's mind, he thought he could leave the same players on and let them play for 120 minutes and they would perform at their best without getting tired. In extra time, we were done. Our boys could not run anymore. That's why we relinquished possession of the ball and Villarreal were getting on the ball. The problem is Villarreal could not score a goal or even create good chances because they don't have good players, guys. They don't have good players. And that's why you can say that Unai Emery pulled Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's pants down. He showed Ole Gunnar Solskjaer levels in management and coaching that Ole is not at and cannot reach that level. I mean, he beat Ole Gunnar Solskjaer with a squad of players that finished 7th in their league. They finished 7th in La Liga. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Manchester United finished 2nd and we lost to a 7th place Villarreal team. Let me just read to you the amount of money that Villarreal have spent in 2 years. Because Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is here 2.5 years. For 2 years, in 2 years, Manchester United has spent 280 million. Around there, 280 million pounds. That's what Manchester United has spent under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. 280 million pounds in transfers we have spent since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is here. Villarreal in that same period has only spent 65 million pounds. 65. We've spent 280 approximately. They've spent approximately 65 million. He beats Ole Gunnar Solskjaer with a 65 million squad. Huh? 65 million, my guy. And he beat Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. He made his substitutions early in the game. In 90 minutes, he made his substitutions. Why? Because he knew he needs to bring on his players in case they go to extra time. At least he brings on his players early so that his players get a feel of the game and they get match rhythm. What happens when you bring your players on late is that they don't have match rhythm, they don't have a feel of the game, and they're completely out of the game. Unai Emery pulled Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's pants down and showed him levels that Ole can't get to and Ole is not at. Look at that expenditure, guys. We should not be losing to that team. We lost today, not because of the boys, because of the manager. Because of the manager, it has to be laid at his feet. I don't care. It has to be laid at his feet. The boys went out there and tried to do what they always do. Individual brilliance. We created one big chance, guys. We had 63% possession. 63% possession, and we created one big chance. In 120 minutes of football, we created one big chance. One big chance. That's the manager. It's the manager's responsibility to implement a style of play and a system that creates chances. Thereafter, it's down to the players to put those chances away. As Pep Guardiola said, Pep Guardiola takes his team from defense to the final third. He said, that's my responsibility. I will get you to the box. What you'll do with the ball at the box is down to you. Because Pep Guardiola cannot shoot for them. He cannot score the goal for them. No, he can't, but he can coach them in order to get to the box. We couldn't get anywhere close to create opportunities. That's down to the manager. One big chance, and that big chance fell to Marcus Rashford that missed. In the middle of the net, in the middle of the goal, he missed. He was the worst player on the pitch, and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer kept him on. Kept him on because he was thinking of penalties. I'm sorry, but this was down to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and the best team won, guys. That's it. The best team won. It doesn't matter how much possession you have. It doesn't matter about anything. Like Jose Mourinho once said, he said you don't need the ball to control a team. You don't need the ball to control a team. The fact that you can stop the opponent from doing what they want to do, you are controlling them and you are controlling the game. And they control that game. They dictated to us what we can do and what we couldn't do. It's evidence in the statistics. 120 minutes, we created one big chance. They controlled the game. They had a plan for the game, and their plan was executed to perfection or near perfection, and they deserved to win that game. Our plan, we had no plan. It was just go there, boys, and express yourself. That's the manager's words, express yourself. So as a result of that, not having a game plan, not having a tactical setup to break down a low block, we lost the game. The best team on the night won. 100%. And as I said, I will not blame David De Gea for missing a penalty. We are not supposed to go to penalties with a Villarreal team that has spent 65 million in the past 2 years. We are not supposed to go to a penalty. I'm hearing pundits now, all his friends in the media saying, oh, Ole needs better players. Ole needs better. How does Ole need better players when we verse Villarreal? Where not one of their players makes it into our starting 11. How does he need better players? Come on, guys. Come on. So, guys, I'm fuming. That's my match review. Going on in the next few days, I'll give you a proper recap of the season, and I'll go maybe more in depth of this performance. But it was a shambolic performance in a final. Marcus Rashford comes out and says, we need to do better. Our heads won't drop. We will come back stronger next season. My guy, talks are over. It's 2.5 years you're under this manager now. Talks are over. This manager can't even deliver a Europa League, a competition we got relegated into. We're not supposed to be in the competition in the first place. It's an embarrassment that we're in the competition. He brought Sir Alex Ferguson to come and watch this competition. An embarrassment. Making Sir Alex Ferguson talk to the boys and all that. We don't need those talks. We need coaching. We need coaching, we need tactics. We don't need those talks about what happened 10, 15, 20 years ago. We don't need that. We need coaching. And this guy, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, is unable to coach this team. He's unable. Guys, that's my match review. Hit the comments. Let me know what you think of it and let me know what you think of this game. I'm out. Peace.